Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1782BN. Today's date is February 3rd, 2019, and the title of the episode is Follow the Watch. The world is watching. We know everything. Now, we know the deep state, they're making really big changes. CNN, they just announced last month that YouTube will be censoring any videos on its platform having to do with 9/11 or conspiracy theories. Anyone who is watching this content will most likely be recorded. Using a VPN is a great idea. Virtual Shield VPN is the easiest and fastest to use VPN. With the click of a button, change your IP address to a different location. This month, Virtual Shield is offering 35% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons. Their no-log policy protects its users from any data breaches. It's time to fight back and protect yourself. Get 35% off this month by clicking the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they are destroying themselves with everything that they do. And Q has always said, why interfere with an enemy while they're destroying themselves? And we can see just that. But what's very interesting is that Q came back on February 1st and posted two different posts, one of a jet plane and the other one about Planned Parenthood. And Q continually says the world is watching. And some Anons were researching this, and they came up with something very interesting, which we're going to get into in just a bit. But first, I wanted to start off with Snopes. And they decided to quit as Facebook's fact checker. And they decided that it was just too hard to do. It was very difficult. And they rather just blacklist or censor those individuals instead of proving that they are wrong. Or even though they might be right, they're still going to be proving them as wrong. We also know that YouTube decided to push a new algorithm system out there to push down the conspiracy theories, which they said, it's the 9/11, the flat earth, and many other things. Now, again, how do they determine this? What is the criteria? We really don't know. But this brings up a question, because how do they know what's conspiracy and what isn't conspiracy? Now, think about this for a sec. There was an article, and we talked about this before, from the Santa Monica Observer, saying that RBG has cancer. Now, Snopes right away came out and said this is a fake story. Now, YouTube would have seen this as a conspiracy because RBG doesn't have cancer. Now, those videos saying that RBG did have cancer, those would have been pushed down because they were conspiracy theories. There was no proof. Snopes did a fact check, and the fact check says that is a fake story. Then we come to find out that she does have cancer. So all of a sudden, Snopes' fact checker is not telling the truth. Maybe that's the conspiracy, and all the conspiracy videos turn out to be true. So YouTube suppressed those videos. Snopes, with their fact checking, suppressed those news stories or blacklisted them, and all those stories turned out to be true. Again, I always go back to, where is Snopes getting their facts? Who's feeding it to them? Because it makes a very big difference. Now, you can see how this system, once again, is not going to work. And again, every time you try to suppress something or hide something from the people, what do people do? They search it out. This system, it's not going to work. Just like they've tried, time after time after time, trying to get rid of all these individuals who talk about something completely different than the mainstream media, it has not worked. It has always failed because people will always seek out the truth. They will always research. They will always make up their own mind. They don't need a master or a ministry of truth to tell them what's true or false. They will do the research. They will put two and two together and they'll say, okay, this mainstream media story, completely fake. I believe this. This is how an open society works. The people decide what they want to believe and what they don't want to believe. A master does not tell them what to believe. People can make up their own mind. People can research. People can figure it out. And you have this internal instinct of what's true and what is fake. as you keep reading, you start to realize, yeah, you know what? This doesn't make any sense. Because when you start to use what Q says, logical thinking, you start to say to yourself, something does not fit here anymore. There are many, many holes in these types of stories. And we can go through all the false flags and everything else, and you can see all the different holes. And a lot of them don't make sense whatsoever. Just wanted to give you an update on the Covington event. BNL News put this out there. Breaking news, Covington Catholic High School lawyers have sent legal letters to the New York Times, Maggie Haberman, Washington Post, CNN, NPR, Savannah Guthrie, Andrea Mitchell, Joy Reid, Chuck Todd, The Hill, The Atlantic, Kathy Griffin, and GQ Magazine. 7 lawyers are now working on it. And if you notice, a lot of these mainstream media outlets have one thing in common. A lot of them are part of the deep state apparatus, if you really look at it. Now, Trump is predicting that Obamacare will be terminated through the Texas lawsuit. Now, remember, they couldn't get rid of Obamacare right off the bat. And we know what Obamacare was all about. That was about controlling the people, making everyone dependent on the government and enriching the insurance agencies. Because who wrote the bill? I mean, let's just review this for a second. Insurance agencies, they decided, hey, let's make this bill up. And you know what? We can make a lot of money off of this. How do we get those people into our system? Well, we penalize them. We say there's going to be a tax. So you must take insurance or you'll be penalized. That will force everyone into it. But guess what? Many, many people rejected it. Why? Because the cost of insurance was skyrocketing and you were not getting the benefit of the insurance because you were paying for a family a lot of money. And I'm not talking about the subsidized people. I'm talking the people that had to get the insurance on their own with no other money coming in. They were very, very expensive, especially when you have a family of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you had to take a deductible, and it was completely impossible to maintain that type of insurance. So this Texas lawsuit is a group of 20 states led by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimmel. They're suing to repeal the Affordable Care Act. They are arguing that without the individual mandate that was repealed in December 2017 tax bill, remember, this is something that Trump included because they knew if they repealed this portion of it, then they'd be able to get rid of the rest of it. And what they're saying in this lawsuit is that the Affordable Care Act is completely unconstitutional right now. And we know it's unconstitutional. We know that there were certain judges that were bribed that pushed this through. And we can see right now this needs to be repealed and it has to be destroyed. Let's talk about what has been happening with abortion. Now, RBG is at the center of all of this because if she is dead, Trump will be able to nominate a new SCOTUS. So Hillary Clinton started the movement. New York, Governor Cuomo and Clinton created a new bill about abortion, and this is how it all started because Clinton called out and said, listen, we need to do something. Other states started to join. Virginia, Kathy Tran was caught on video explaining her bill. This is where everything started to fall apart. The movement came to a screeching halt. This video went viral. And Kathy Tran shut down her Twitter account. She tried to explain the situation. It wasn't working. So Governor Ralph Northam came to her rescue, but he just made it worse with explaining that you can kill a baby that was already born. And the doctors and the parents would make that decision. And this is when everything started to fall apart. Now, remember, they're doing all this because we do believe that RBG, well, she might be dead, and they're pushing very, very hard to get all these laws into place before maybe they announce it. So, since the entire movement came to a screeching halt and everything went south, what did they need? They needed a distraction. So what happened? All of a sudden, a pic from a yearbook appeared out of nowhere of the governor of Virginia in blackface with Ku Klux Klan. And his name is on the top of this page, and he's trying to explain this away. Now, what they did was they created this distraction because what they were pushing started to really fall apart. And they don't care if they destroy someone else. That makes no difference to them. So the news, they tried to spin this. First, CNN, when reporting on this, they did the following. During an Anderson Cooper segment, they were talking about the Virginia governor, Ralph Northam, and they put an R next to his name to make it look like he was Republican. Now, no way was this just a mistake. This was done on purpose. Now, of course, when everyone started to point this out, they took down a lot of the videos, but a lot of people saved them. And we have them today where we can see that, yes, this is what they tried to do. And you can see that they were trying to just show this so everyone would think, oh, look, it's the Republican that's doing this, which was not true. But once this came out, it just got worse and worse. And this is what the deep state actually wanted. They wanted all eyes on this individual. It's not the legislation. It's this individual, and this individual, we didn't know anything about this, and he's a bad man. So Trump tweeted out the following. Democrat Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia just stated, I believe that I am not either of the people in the photo. This was 24 hours after apologizing for appearing in the picture and after making the most horrible statement on super late term abortion. Unforgivable. Now mark the time here. Trump tweeted this out at 4:39 p.m. on February 2nd. Then Trump tweeted out the following. Ed Gillespie, who ran for the governor of the great state of Virginia against Ralph Northam, must now be thinking malpractice and dereliction of duty with regard to his opposition research staff. If they find that terrible picture before the election, he wins by 20 points. Now, this was at 5:01 p.m. February 2nd. So Trump does what he does best. He pushes what just happened and points out interesting facts. Then Hillary tweets out a little while later. This has gone on too long. There is nothing to debate. He must resign. She tweets out 6:46 p.m. February 2nd. So this is a little hypocritical of Hillary Clinton, because what she's doing right now is she's trying to take all eyes off of the legislation, all eyes off the abortion, and putting all eyes on this governor who, is dressing up in blackface with the Ku Klux Klan and trying to say, see, he's the evil person. That's the problem here. It's this individual. And they're throwing him to the dogs. That's what they're doing. And who else joined in? Pelosi and everyone else. So we need to go back to post 1818. This is August 5th, 2018. And Q gave us a picture of Robert Byrd kissing Hillary Clinton on the cheek. Now, Robert Byrd, he is a KKK member. And this is what Hillary Clinton said about Robert Byrd in 2008. From my first day in the Senate, I sought out his guidance, and he was always generous with his time and his wisdom. And as Secretary of State, I continue to rely on his advice and counsel. It's time to learn the truth. Q says, reconcile. So it's funny that she's throwing this governor out to the wolves and saying it's him, don't look over here. And that is for a very good reason. Now the governor is denying everything. It's not me in the yearbook. It's not me in blackface. I'm not going to resign. And basically, he's staying in his position as of right now. And they want this to be played up so all eyes are off of what just happened with their bills, because that's where the problem is. But they're trying to shift the focus onto this individual, saying that he's an evil person. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but this is what they're using as a distraction. Ryan Saavedra tweeted out the following. Kathy Tran proposes bill to allow full-term abortions. Video goes viral. Outrage ensues. Ralph Northam defends Tran. Northam doubles down after outrage. Northam KKK blackface photo emerges. Tran calls for Northam to resign. You see what's happening here? So let's recap a little bit. First of all, the photo was known. It was not used during the elections. It was held. Why? Because they knew eventually they might have to use this later on. Remember, the CIA, the intelligence operations, the individuals in government, they knew everything, and they used certain information to blackmail people. And if they needed to use this information later on to destroy them or to make them do what they wanted, they pulled it out of their files. This is what happened right now. So when everything started to go south and the legislation was exposed, the video went viral, and when people started to talk about it, when the governor tried to help the situation and just made it worse, the movement was in trouble. Remember, this all revolves around RBG. They needed this movement to go as fast as possible, lightning speed, before they made the announcement. They needed everything in place. They're in trouble right now. So right now, they need to take the focus off all of this so they can regroup and try to refocus everything to what they want. Is it going to work? No, I think their plan has destroyed what they were trying to do. And as Q always says, why interfere with an enemy while they're destroying themselves? And that's exactly what they were doing here. They ended up destroying themselves. So we can see right now that people have woken up. They understand what's going on here. They tried to use this distraction, and it is backfiring in their face. But they're going to keep trying. But guess what? It didn't work. And their movement, where they were trying to get all the states on board, that isn't going to work either. Now, Trump is out there, and instead of saying build the wall, he has changed the slogan and is now finish the wall, because the wall is already being built, as we know. The White House aides claim that Trump has 150 miles of wall that will either be finished or under construction by the end of 2019. So already the wall is being built, and let's just finish it. We're not pushing build the wall because the wall is already being built. We see the yellow vests in Germany. We see hundreds are protesting new EU regulations. Again, the yellow vests are spreading around the world. This is not by accident. This is a push to change everything and to put all these leaders in the spotlight. We see the Venezuelan opposition leader is offering China investment opportunities once he becomes the leader of the country, or if he becomes the leader of the country, he is saying, yes, I will support all your investments. And we can see that Maduro right now, he is calling for early elections, and we'll have to see what happens and how this turns out. In Syria, we see the Syria's Constitutional Committee is going to be created soon, and we see everything is moving exactly as planned in Syria, and eventually the troops in Syria, they'll be completely out of Syria. The last remaining Islamic State pockets that are there, they will be destroyed, and the mainstream media, the deep state, they can't do anything about this. Now, I want to go back to post 2675, and it shows two jets flying in the air, and it looks like the sun is either setting or the sun is rising. Now, the file name sysconfspec_y is very peculiar in itself, and if we look at a lot of Q's posts, we can see that this is also part of Q's way of communicating, because if you go back to like post 219, it says _27-1 yes USA 94.2. It also says conf BECZ Y056 _Y. And you can see a lot of these in post 363, post 333. What exactly it means, don't know as of yet. But many Annans are looking into this to see if they can figure this out. Another Annan wrote the following. Since I was a photographer in the military, I know we upload our photos to DVIDS, and the media pulls our photos from the site. Therefore, I looked for the original photo and found it. Don't know if this helps or it means anything at all, but here is the original. And gave us the link to dvidshub.net, and this is the photo. Now, again, we said this was the Air Force F-15E Strike Eagles flying over northern Iraq early in the morning. So right there and then, we know this is a sunrise. And this was on September 23rd, 2014. They were conducting airstrikes in Syria. Now, what's very interesting is that since this is a sunrise, we can say this is from dark to light. We also know that Flynn changed his wallpaper on his Twitter account, and he is going from dark to light, and the sun is higher in the sky. So does this mean that the mission was accomplished while Q was dark during this period? Or does it mean we are now proceeding with the mission and we're going from dark to light and targets are acquired and we're ready for the booms? We'll have to wait and see. Another theory is that the F-15 refers to February 15th. We know what February 15th is. This is when the government shuts down. And just like Dave Janda, I do believe the government shutdown was a test case. And what did that show us? It showed us that the economy was not really affected by the shutdown. It allowed Trump to go through all the different departments, see what is needed, what is not needed. And it showed a lot of different things. And I believe this was a test case. Now I want to move on to post 2647. This is back January 5th, 2019. Q put up an image of a watch and a pen, note and a notebook. And below this it says, will POTUS be at Camp David tomorrow? 1 year Delta, matters of national security, the clock is ticking. Then it says, follow the watch. Now, I know Q shows the watch, but another Anon found something else that's very interesting. Now, this is from NORAD. NORAD and U.S. NORTHCOM have complementary missions, and members of our headquarters staff work to fulfill our homeland defense responsibilities. The two commands operate within a common security environment and share common values, understanding the urgency and importance of our duties in light of very real and present dangers. NORAD mission of the North American Aerospace Defense Command conducts aerospace warning, aerospace control, and maritime warning in the defense of North America. U.S. NORTHCOM mission, the United States Northern Command partners to conduct homeland defense, civil support, and security cooperation to defend and secure the United States and its interests. The NORAD and U.S. NORTHCOM vision. With our trusted partners, we will defend the North America by outpacing all threats, maintaining faith with our people, and supporting them in their times of greatest needs. Their slogan is, we have the watch. Now, let's take this a little further here. In many of Q's posts, post 2100, post 2462, post 2561, post 2566, post 2601, they say many different things in all these posts, but there's a commonality between all this. It says the world is watching. The world is watching. And there's many, many more posts than just what I just read here. I just picked out a couple of them to show you that Q says this many, many times. So is this telling us that the watch is NORAD and they are watching everything? The world is watching. They have everything. They're recording everything. They know everything. They know all the moves by the deep state. They know exactly what they have planned, and they're always watching. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.